is close!
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Prototype. Welcome to Day 8, and we start on top of a smokestack, which we should get off of before the smoke does something.
HQ needs an update.
So now that we have skyjacking, I thought I'd take the next little while to do a couple runs around Manhattan, just to see things from a bird's eye view. So we're going to start with this bridge over here that we actually haven't gone to yet. The railroad. And there's something interesting about helicopters when you start leaving the island.
Past the threshold. You're clear to fire.
Okay. Thank you for complying. At least the military is nice about it when you start listening to them. But yeah, if you start leaving the island with the helicopter, eventually you'll be shot down. Which is not fun. And second, let's look at the newly upgraded military bases. Now we have detectors around the vicinity, slightly expanding their range of how they can detect us. So infiltrating military bases is going to be a little bit difficult, but we have a mixture of being stealthy and sabotaging those detectors, so it's not much of an issue right now. Alright, so our next mission, still at the morgue, but before we do that, we need some more upgrades. And as you can see with the map, well, 49% of the population is now infected, so we have a lot of infected spots. And a lot less military control going around. But anyway, our next three upgrades will compose of the Air Stomp, not a really powerful ability on its own. You can connect it with a bunch of hand-to-hand abilities that we don't really have yet. It's a good finisher, if anything. And it's really easy to pull off compared to the Ground Shatter drop. However, let's get some more hand-to-hand combat going on, because that'll be helpful for the next mission. First, the Breakdown Smash, which is a 3-punch combo ending in a really powerful downward punch. Followed by the Uppercut Launcher, which is a really powerful hand-to-hand ability, throwing enemies up in the air. Now you can see that Air Stomp is a follow-up to the Uppercut Launcher, and getting that ability also gets us the Air Combo, which is the immediate follow-up to that move. But we'll be getting it later, of course, because it was just unlocked, and not part of our list. So let's show those off briefly before we start. Yeah, not a lot of shockwave and area of effect to the Air Stomp.
Once more, man. Once more.
And there's the Uppercut Launcher for you. It does multiple hits on its way up, so that's where it gets a majority of its damage. And finally, while I'm getting shot at, there we go, the Breakdown Smash. The final hit just sends things flying. Now, let's try and get as many military away as possible before we start the next mission, because I need to not be alerted. Actually, you'll help. No one will suspect the lady. Except for... what are you doing? You, young lady, I want to learn your ability of, apparently, time manipulation, because you're moving really slow.
Negative. I don't got him. Stand by.
And I may never know. Alright. Time for the next mission. Surprise!
What's happening to me? They know you carry the infection. They might be using you to produce an antivirus. If we learn what it's doing, maybe I can find a way to help your biology reject it. How? Cut off its food supply.
If I'm gonna get Raglan to those bodies, I'm gonna need some armor.
Alright, so this mission can be easily divided into 3 parts. And the first part is not really that exciting, because the first thing we have to do is, well, we have to find a military disguise again, even though I actually had one in tow. So, time to do some stealthy action, which doesn't help by jumping into everything. There we are. Alright, part 1 done. Part 2, get a tank. If you're not sure about what tanks look like, well, checking the minimap, you can see all of those really big white circles. Those are tanks. So this mission is mainly escort, but it's not annoying in the sense of a regular escort mission of what you might think.
The Penn Station bodies are in a base in Harlem. Let's go.
If you can get me a couple of minutes with those corpses, I think I can get what you need.
So this escort mission really isn't that difficult because you and Raglan are in the same place together, so if you go down or the tank goes down, then that's pretty much it for the mission and you'll have to start over. Now really this first part of the mission is not really that exciting or engaging because really it's just go from point A to point B to start the next part of the mission. I can certainly just bring up my alert status and be detected and all that and take down all the military in my way, but I contemplated that really there is no need to other than for sheer unwanted destruction. And sometimes the turret gets stuck on things and the turret actually has some sort of collision to it. Have you ever wanted to play Limbo with a tank's turret before? Oh well. So yeah, killing the military in this mission for this first part, even though they're everywhere, is not necessary and in fact impedes your progress because there's really no need to do anything of the sort. It would pretty much make this mission a lot more difficult if I did. So I thought to myself, why really bother?
Looks like someone got here before us, Doc.
What is that?
Just ignore it. I'll deal with it.
This won't take long. Just give me some time.
Alright, so if you've ever played Prototype up to maybe halfway or 3/4 way through the game, you probably remember this mission for one main reason, and that is because this mission can be on the difficult side. You have one wall stopping the infected from getting to Raglan, and you have to protect this wall for 4 minutes. If the wall goes down, the mission fails and you have to restart from the beginning. Also, I have to say, plot consistency, we're in base AE6, and wasn't it in the last mission that the Penn Station bodies were being moved to AE1? Or is it because the bodies were here, but the infected overran it, so they weren't able to move these bodies in particular? I wish there was something more concrete about the plot. But anyway, back to the mission. I rather like the structure of this mission because you get multiple waves of infected coming at you, mixes of ones that run at you, and of course the occasional hunter, which makes things a little bit more difficult. And because you don't have all of your powers, you have a limited array of options in order to take down the infected. There are, of course, a bunch of weapons just lying around on the ground, which you should use sparingly because you don't have a lot to actually work with. And sometimes the infected just decide to wig out. But I like this mission because it makes you use a wide variety of powers, and it makes you figure out which ones are most effective against infected. And this one is apparently... And that one apparently is right behind a box, and I'm gonna leave him alone because he doesn't seem to be doing any much of a threat. It's very easy to be overwhelmed if you're not sure about what to actually do. And also be careful about using weapons and your own abilities against infected right against the wall, because you can also do damage to the wall as well. So try to attract them to you. Save the missile launchers for the hunters, because that is the fastest way in order to get rid of them. Other than that, you have a large amount of hand-to-hand combat abilities that work very well against them, including the uppercut launcher and the breakdown smash. They do a great amount of damage, and if you're really not sure and just looking for quick damage, just pick up and throw guys. It'll get them away from the wall and will most likely hit another guy in the crossfire.
Jesus! Get these things away from me! They're over here! Help! Stop them!
This mission can go like either way. It could be something that's very easily controlled, or you could get a huge line of infected against the wall, which makes things very difficult. Most times when people play this mission, they're gonna get down to the last 5 seconds with barely any health against the wall, and will either win or lose depending on how the game feels that day. Now for some reason, I don't really understand why, but even when some of the infected are at full health, the body surf will get rid of, like, the body surf will be a one-hit kill to them, which is rather surprising, of all things. It certainly makes you go and get the body surf as quickly as possible if that is going to be the case in some instances. Maybe it only works for, like, the little, like, the spindly infected instead of the big chunky ones, but it certainly whittles down opponents. And there we go.
Let's get out of here.
Now that that's done, the 4 minutes are up, and now the wall is invincible, so all we need to do is take care of the rest of the infected. So things get a little bit easier. Just use the remaining amount of your abilities and you should be good to go. Now you can see that the air stomp, like even at point blank range, I'm taking down those two. They still don't even do a lot of damage on their own. And what is this infected doing? I'm gonna get you away from your sliding. It's never good. And this infected is still behind the box, apparently doing some marionette work. And another really cool thing about the mixture of the body surf and the flip kick launcher is that sometimes you can target another enemy with the body surf victim that you have, and that is just so satisfying. I love doing it all the time, whenever I can. Just a couple enemies left. There we go. Alright, one more. And I'm gonna save him for one special annoyance, and that is the wall. So, you become a body surf victim, and the wall, screw you. Good. Wait a minute.
That's not good.
Alright, time to get out of here. Especially with that new guy around. Pretty much the same as the first part, except you're going in the opposite direction. But you have some new threats and a new infected type. Say hello to the Hydra. The Hydra is actually a rather underutilized infected type in this game. And is, I think, arguably the biggest infected type in the game. They can be very dangerous if you're going to actually take them on, because their main attack is to pick up cars that are around them, or vehicles, or the like. Pick them up and throw them at you for massive damage, and this can hurt, especially when you're in tanks or especially helicopters. They look really cool though. But in terms of our mission, we have to get Raglan back to the morgue. And half of the tank's health is gone, so it's not really good to take the Hydra on, because there's more of a chance of you and the tank being exploded than there is you taking down all the Hydra in your path on the way back to the morgue. But it's a real shame that the Hydra are rather underutilized, because I think they could have done more with them. We're going to be seeing them later in one of the main missions, much later on, but other than that, and in some of the events, I don't really see that much of them. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, but they just don't use them as much as I think they should. It also helps to take a path that isn't major in order to avoid all of where the Hydras show up, because they usually show up in the major intersections. And that'll be it. We're in the home stretch.
That is interesting. I'll get this under a scope. Come back in a few hours. I'll have an analysis for you.
Dramatic camera angle for some reason of Raglan going up the stairs, but that is the end of the mission. Fun mission. Good use of a lot of the abilities that you may not be using because of all your powers. But yeah, thought we were supposed to be going to AE1. Instead we go to 6. Sometimes I don't really understand the base naming schematic for that, but really I don't think the game really cares either. That'll be it for this video. The mission's done, and hopefully we can get our powers back with what Raglan has found out for us. And what is going on with Elizabeth Green? Because isn't she the source of a bunch of the infected? Did she make the Hydras? Maybe we'll find out next time. See you next time, everyone! Look at all of these varieties of beer. It's so good. And look at... Oh, those are good prices of ale. See? Discount booze. That's so great. Oh, I'm always going to remember this store. 24 hours cold beer. Yeah, garbage.